Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to discuss a topic that I'm very excited about. It's how we can become more efficient energy metabolizers by hacking our individualized response to the foods that we consume to assist us in more effectively transitioning into the fat burning zone. I'm talking about the Lumen and how we can use this tool to become more metabolically flexible. So let's dive in. Hey everyone, before I get going, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as hit that notification bell if you find information like this helpful. Also, please feel free to spread the word. I really appreciate your support. So, in the world of intermittent fasting, we focus a great deal on becoming more metabolically flexible so that we can burn right through our sugar stores and then shift right into fat burning mode so that we can start dropping those pounds. Not only that, intermittent fasting is also an excellent tool to help us achieve greater metabolic health, to correct insulin resistance, and it has numerous health advantages, which can help open the door to longevity and greater quality of life. Well, the Lumen is a device that can help us become more aware of our own unique bioindividuality and how different factors such as our nutrition, sleep, activity level, and our reaction to stress can impact our metabolism. But beyond that, it gives us a window and insight into our own current status of metabolic flexibility, and it gives us guidance as to how we can improve it. So, how does it do that? Well, when it comes to the science behind the Lumen, Dr. Jason Fung did an excellent job of explaining how this device works. When I first started researching the Lumen, I came across one of his videos, and I found the information very helpful. He explains that the Lumen captures the respiratory quotient, and specifically the respiratory exchange ratio, in a very compact and convenient manner. The alternative would be to hop on a treadmill or an exercise bike in a clinical setting and to be hooked up to measuring equipment, which is not something that you can conveniently do when you're headed out the door to grab some lunch. Dr. Fung also dives into a study which explains how individuals with a lower respiratory quotient of 0.7 demonstrated weight loss, while those with a higher respiratory quotient of 1.0 had a higher correlation to weight gain, which makes sense because, as the Lumen app explains, a lower respiratory quotient is associated with fat metabolism, and a higher respiratory quotient is associated with carb metabolism. The Lumen interprets the ratio of oxygen that is being breathed in versus the carbon dioxide that we breathe out, which is tied directly into the process by which the body utilizes an energy source and burns it for fuel. So, in taking a deep sustained breath through the Lumen and then exhaling, the Lumen is able to calculate the respiratory exchange ratio, which it then applies to get that respiratory quotient. And thus, we know if we're in fat burning mode or carb burning mode. Once I received my own Lumen, I wasted no time in setting up the app and becoming familiar with the device. So let's go over the basics. The app does a great job of going over the ins and outs of how the Lumen works. And as part of the setup, it allows you the opportunity to practice with the device, and it provides visual confirmation that you're doing it correctly. You inhale slowly, hold for 10, and then exhale slowly. This sequence of steps allows the Lumen to obtain that respiratory exchange ratio that I mentioned a moment ago. And the practice is helpful, my friends. Because, as is displayed in the app, you want to keep the ball within target, which is necessary as part of the measurement process. Why? And this is an important tip. What the Lumen measures are our carbon dioxide levels that we breathe out. And what we know is activities such as exercise or our mindset, such as anxiety, can trigger us to take deeper, more frequent breaths. However, in doing so, we are blowing off some of that carbon dioxide that it's measuring, which is why the Lumen recommends that you gather your measurement while at rest and relaxed. Yes, nice calm thoughts. And that is why practicing helps, so that you can feel completely comfortable with your device. And then, after you've moved beyond the practice mode, the Lumen app also goes over the importance of timing, with the morning measurement being the most important piece of data. However, it also allows you the opportunity to check your levels before and after exercise, as well as before and after eating, and then again before bedtime. And after obtaining your measurement, the Lumen gives you a score on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being fat burning mode and 5 meaning that you are burning carbohydrates as your energy source. And I mentioned that according to Lumen, your morning measurement is the most important. The reason being is that it provides Lumen with insight into how your metabolism has been impacted by your lifestyle habits over the last 3 days. This measurement also tells you something that so many individuals want to know, whether you're waking up in the fat burning mode. And depending on what your food intake consists of, your Lumen device may give you a score that places you in the carb burning mode when you collect that bedtime rating. And as the Lumen explains, depending on what you're eating, this is actually quite normal. However, the goal is to wake up in fat burning mode, pushing you closer to your goal of metabolic flexibility. And another excellent feature that the Lumen provides is your very own flex score. And as the name implies, this is your metabolic flexibility score. And it takes the Lumen 2 weeks in order to obtain sufficient data to provide you with that information. And depending on what your flex score is, it makes recommendations for your macronutrient intake specific to your needs, which can help you to better reach your goals. And as part of the setup process, it takes you through options for goals, which include weight loss, increasing muscle mass, or optimizing your metabolic health. It customizes its recommendations based off of what is most important to you. The app is also super helpful in troubleshooting areas such as why you continue to wake up in carb burning mode, factors that may be impacting your results, and education about how your lifestyle habits come into play. Lumen was kind enough to provide a promo code for all of you that would like to try the device for yourselves. Please feel free to check out the description box down below for a link. So I mentioned that I set up my own Lumen device, and I am an individual that is all about collecting my own personal data. I love knowing and understanding how my body works. And for those of you that are newer to my channel, I do the 5-2 method of intermittent fasting. And I utilize different windows of time-restricted eating the rest of the week. And I have been tracking my results and my meals over the last 3 days so that I could share those results with all of you. On day 1, I had a great start to my day. I woke up with a score of 2, which placed me in fat burning mode. I took Windsor for a walk and remained at a level 2 post-exercise. And I went on to have an OMAD eating window on this day. Now, for those of you that are newer to my channel, I enjoy cooking. I prepare meals at home several days a week, and with the exception of focusing on cutting out processed and inflammatory foods, I don't cut out any of the food groups. I strive for balance, and I choose foods that provide me with energy, but I will indulge on occasion. And I have been able to lose 50 pounds thus far with these eating habits, and of course, thanks to intermittent fasting. So here's a snapshot of what my dinner consisted of. And I finished it off with a glass of kefir. I go over the glycemic control benefits that incorporating kefir into your lifestyle has to offer. Feel free to check out this link if you'd like to know more details. So then before bedtime, I grabbed my Lumen and my results came back at a 5, meaning full carb burning mode. But the following morning, I was happy to see that I was able to slide back into fat burning mode with a score of 2. Once again, I got in an hour walk and I stayed at a level 2 post-exercise. And then I had an OMAD eating window. And here's what was on the dinner menu for me on this night. And then once again, I finished it off with a cup of kefir. And then later on, my Lumen level was back at a 5 before bedtime, indicating full carb burning mode. Then the following morning, I was back down to a 2, which as you can see, indicates a healthy metabolism. Because remember, the goal is to wake up in fat burning mode. So on day 3, I opened my window much sooner than the previous days, and I had an 18:6 eating window. I had a delicious salad, and post-meal, my Lumen score was a 3.
Good boy.
Which indicates both fat and carb burning. And here's a snapshot of what was on the menu for dinner on this night. Delicious mushroom chicken and chive risotto. And then my window closed promptly at 5 p.m. Early time-restricted eating has additional health benefits, my friends. Please feel free to leave a comment down below if you are interested in this topic, and I can cover it in a future video.
Come sit.
Good sit. So then I was able to sneak in a walk post dinner and get my steps in, which I found out worked in my favor because when I checked my Lumen score before bed, I was a level 4, unlike the 2 previous nights in which I was a level 5, full carb burning mode. And then the following morning, I was back down to a level 2, fat burning mode. After that, I went into a mealless Monday, in which I typically complete a 36 to 42 hour fast for the additional health benefits associated with extended fasting. This is a topic that I have also discussed in a previous video, in which I dive into the health benefits such as the microbiome reset, stem cell and immune system rejuvenation, as well as further assistance with insulin resistance. Feel free to check out this link if you want to know more about the benefits associated with extended fasting. So that was just a peek at my results. I will be doing a follow-up video in the next couple of weeks to go over my experience with doing a 72-hour water fast. And I am planning to use my Lumen alongside a continuous glucose monitor and a ketone monitor. And I'll be going over all of those results, as well as my flex score, before and after my fast, to look at the impact on my metabolic flexibility score. Okay everyone, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as the notification bell so that you can receive helpful reminders whenever I have videos like this headed your way. Also, if you're having any trouble breaking through that weight loss plateau and you want help with troubleshooting, please be sure to check out this playlist. Or if you want to know more about how intermittent fasting can help you to cut those inches, please feel free to check out this video. Okay everyone, I'll see you in the next one.